So, what if the next massive shift in the car industry isn't just about what powers the car, but about who actually writes the rules for how it's made? Today, we're going to break down a pretty ambitious 2040 roadmap that's aiming to do just that, to completely redefine the future of the global car industry.
Yeah, and this quote right here, it gets straight to the point. Let's be clear, this is not just some feel-good environmental policy. The source material frames this as a calculated, incredibly high-stakes play for industrial leadership on a global scale.
Okay, so to get on the same page, what do we even mean by low-carbon manufacturing? Well, it's not just about what happens on the factory floor. The strategy here defines it as a total life cycle approach. We're talking everything, from the very first design sketch to where the materials come from, all the way to how that car is taken apart and recycled, decades down the road. So let's start with the situation. The global auto industry is in what the sources are calling an irreversible race to a low-carbon future. And this isn't just some passing trend, okay? This is the new battlefield for who's going to dominate the market. And here's where the thinking really shifts. I mean, we all see the headlines about EV production, right? But the real prize, according to this analysis, is mastering the entire low-carbon manufacturing process. And the logic is pretty simple. Whoever controls that process doesn't just get to compete in the industry, they get to define it. Now, what's so fascinating about this analysis is how honest it is about the complication. Because despite leading the world in EV sales, the report points out 4 critical and potentially fatal gaps in the manufacturing ecosystem that could actually derail the whole ambition. Okay, so what are they? Well, the roadmap diagnoses some pretty big shortcomings in 4 key areas. These are the challenges the entire strategy is built to solve: weaknesses in design, in manufacturing, in services, and in just managing carbon emissions overall.
So let's look at the first one, design. There's a pretty clear gap in durability and circularity. You see that core components, like batteries, have a lifespan of about 5 to 8 years, which is way behind the international benchmark of 10 plus years. And maybe more importantly, there's a low application rate for recycled materials. They just aren't being designed in from the very beginning.
And check this out. This really lays out the manufacturing challenge. It's not enough to just throw some solar panels on the factory roof. The real gap is in the diversity of green energy and the depth of decarbonization. The report points to this over-reliance on just buying carbon credits, as an offset, instead of fundamentally changing the production processes to cut emissions at the source. Okay, so that's the problem. How does the roadmap plan to close these gaps? Let's get to the resolution. A really powerful vision for 2040, and it's built on some clear, ambitious, and measurable targets. First up, the headline target, and it is a huge one: a 70% reduction in a car's full life cycle carbon emissions by 2040. And that's compared to today's levels in 2024. Again, that's everything from raw materials all the way to scrapping the vehicle. The second major target is all about circularity. It's about being efficient with our resources. The goal is to have a comprehensive resource utilization rate of over 75% for every single vehicle that gets dismantled and recycled. And here are the 2 big goals that really anchor the whole strategy. First, the auto industry has to hit its peak carbon emissions by 2030. But the second goal, wow, it's even more audacious. By 2040, the manufacturing process itself has to become net positive. Think about that. It needs to contribute more to carbon reduction than it actually emits. So that's the big vision. But how in the world does the industry actually get there? Well, the plan lays out a very concrete 3-stage roadmap. It breaks the whole journey down into manageable chunks. And the whole plan is very methodical. Phase 1 up to 2030, that's all about building the foundation. It's about getting the design principles right, getting the carbon accounting systems in place, and hitting that peak emissions target. Then, Phase 2 to 2035 is about scaling up and achieving true car-to-car recycling loops. And finally, Phase 3 by 2040 is about full implementation, creating the foundation for a truly carbon-neutral industry. Okay, this table really puts some meat on the bones of that plan. It uses a 4-level rating system for low-carbon manufacturing, from basic to leading. And the goal is to systematically push the entire industry up the ladder. So by 2030, most companies are going to be at a basic or systematic level. But look at the target for 2040. Half of all companies are expected to reach the highest leading level of capability, and the basic level is completely gone. All right, so let's pull back for a second. What's the big picture takeaway from this whole strategic document? What's the ultimate message being sent to the auto industry and, frankly, to the world? Well, the report wraps up with these 4 crystal clear directives. It's a call to action that frames this journey as more than just a technical challenge. It's a strategic mandate. It basically says, number 1, understand the race is on. Number 2, use your weaknesses as fuel to innovate. Number 3, follow this plan. And number 4, the ultimate goal here is to go from being just a player in the game to setting the rules for everybody else. And that really leaves us with this final, crucial question that the roadmap itself kind of poses. I mean, the ambition here goes way beyond national borders. The goal isn't just to build one nation's low-carbon auto industry. It's to create a system that's so advanced it becomes the new global standard by default. So the real question is this a roadmap for one country, or is it the new rulebook for the world?